I like to have 2 questions, and I also like to tell a little bit what's my experience.
Better if you just get right to the question.
Better to right to the question?
If you tell your experience, it makes you harder to hear the answer to your questions.
No, not really.
All right, then do whatever you want.
Okay. I'd just like to say, and maybe this is just a positive thing, because about 10 years ago, I really wanted to live in a place where I could work and live. I really like that. I'm living it, and even better. And also, I design tools, and all the ideas are just coming to me like a waterfall. I really have to write it down.
Yeah.
And also put something on the plate for that. I export it, and more things are coming. So it's like it's beautiful. But also, I find what you were saying all the time here. I'm not hang up with it. I'm so appreciated where I am that everything seems to be speeding up. For me, it's wonderful. Of course, I have a new goal now.
We have something important to say to you because we've heard that a few times as we've been together this week. But here's the thing. If you're asking for more than you're keeping up with, you have the sensation that things are speeding up. But if you're keeping up, then you don't have that sensation.
I don't understand that.
If you're in an airplane, 30,000 feet in the sky, going fast, and you're looking down, you don't feel your speed that much. 500 miles an hour doesn't feel that fast, but put that same airplane on the ground, you feel the speed because the ground has resistance. And so if life is causing you to ask for something and you're pretty much staying up to speed with what you're asking for, even though it's coming faster and faster and faster and faster, there's no relativity that makes it feel fast because you're up to speed with it as it comes. So when it feels like it's coming faster than you can handle maybe, then that's an indication of just a bit of resistance.
No, it doesn't feel faster than I can handle. I can handle it fine because I'm not urgent I'm taking it as it comes.
Well, we're just telling you that the reason that you have an awareness of things speeding up is because you're not speeding up as fast as the things are speeding up. And if you were, then you wouldn't make that statement. That's all. Of course, there's nothing wrong with things feeling fast. Sometimes that feels exciting, but sometimes things feel fast and then it feels overwhelming. So when things start feeling like they're really moving fast, Esther says that from time to time too. Well, things are moving fast. It's like she's opened her vortex. She'll say, I've opened my vortex and more is coming in than I can deal with. Well, if more is coming in than she feels like she can deal with, then she's not really open to her vortex. Because if she was really up to speed with her vortex, it feels like ease and flow. Ease and flow.
It does, but also other things blocked me, and I know what it was. And I would like to tell a little bit about it, if I may.
Just come to your question.
I come to my question.
That would be an easier way.
Okay, well, I have to go. Okay, my mother died, I talked about this week, 1.5 years ago. And what happened is she was 8 months in an elderly house. And I was taking care of her, and I was a lot there. And also, I noticed that the elderly house wasn't taking care of her, but they're supposed to do. So what I did, I hired people myself to take extra care of her. Okay, and that worked okay. Then I find out that she was losing weight and everything, and from the beginning I said we had conversations about this, and I was sending emails about this and saying, okay, it's not going very well. You should take more care of her. And I took her twice back to my house, out of the elderly house, so she could get stronger again. And then at one point in my business, I was getting really, really busy, and I had really put my attention to it, and I was going for exams and everything. So I let it a little bit go. And at that point, it really went all wrong. So what happened, to make a long story short, her medicine was messed up. She was dehydrated to the hospital. The hospital did some things which were incredible. They didn't take care of her. Anyhow, she died. So it happened. When she died, I got all the reports from the hospitals right away. I got all the reports from the elderly house. Now you can say, okay, keep away from problems. But in this case, I think it benefits other people if this is known to more people what happened.
We know it seems so. We understand the point that you're making. But if we walk back through your explanation of what happened, we want to say to you that right in the beginning, when you were aware, you witnessed it or you heard about it or you saw evidence of it, that your mother was not receiving the care that you wanted her to receive. So from that point of discouragement or maybe even anger, you made a decision to do something about it. You received an impulse to bring other people in. Well, that bringing other people in didn't help, did it? You found a solution that actually was not a solution at all.
What was at the time the thing that went wrong is when I turned away from it because I was so busy. That's when it got wrong.
What about the people that you hired to take?
Well, it was just to take her occasionally out for a day, to get, because she was very lively. She couldn't sit in a chair all day. She wanted to go out. So they take her out and everything. But then, because they messed up her medicine, she didn't even have the strength anymore.
There are a number of things that we want to say to you, because we know it becomes more confusion and more difficult when you are wanting to create on behalf of someone else. You don't create your mother's reality. Your mother creates her own reality. And you create your own reality. We just want you to try to, and you've been listening to us, so we know that you do understand the message that we are offering here. It's the thing that comes up the most. Abraham, I'm in this situation, and so I have this impulse to do this thing from this situation. And we say, we know you have the impulse to do this thing from this situation, but unless you are in the receiving mode, you say, I can't get in the receiving mode under these conditions. I can't find that place of clarity. I don't know exactly what to do. So you can't make a decision that's beneficial to you or to anyone else from your place of knowing what's wrong. This is a thing that we said earlier, and it's maybe what triggered your awareness of wanting to talk to us. That's why so much of the world gets into this warning stance. This bad thing happened to me, and this bad thing could happen to you too. So it starts the seeds of expecting less than well-being, expecting things to go wrong. And we know if we were to poll the whole world, if everyone were to have a vote on it, they would vote with what you're saying. They would say, yes, this is the way in our physical world it works. And we say, we know that's what you think. That's the reason that things are harder for all of you than they need to be, because you are not letting yourself really get into the receiving mode before you follow your inspiration.
Well, I'm sorry to say this, but I am getting still a lot of ideas, and I'm still continuing my thing, my work. That's still growing, on the other hand.
So are you saying that there could be some subjects that you're open and allowing on and some subjects that you're not? Of course, it is logical. And where do you feel the most frustration? Isn't the most frustration that you feel when you're trying to create in the reality of someone else?
Well, no, I don't want to create her reality. I just want to, the mistakes have been made. And I want to be, that has to be recognized.
Well,
that's what I want.
We like it that you have the free will to do that. And we like it that you get to think whatever you like. And we like it that as long as you are having thoughts like that, where you're pushing against others, that relative to that aspect of your life, you will have evidence of what that vibration is. And we would like you to know that you cannot be the exception in the universe where you can feel negative emotion about something and be doing good for yourself at the same time. That never, ever is true. So while all of your reasoning powers are alive and well, and while we do understand what you are wanting to say to us, we keep defaulting to the laws of the universe as we know them to be, and to your inner being as we know your inner being to be, and we have to say to you that you are discordant to your inner being on that topic, and you certainly have the right to be there. And we also acknowledge that there are things that happen in the world every day that when you look at them, you would find them abhorrent, and you would not be able to say, I will look at that and feel good. And that is not our wish. We do not wish that you look at things that cause you to feel bad and feel good. We ask you to look somewhere else. We ask you to reach for the receiving mode of your inner being. Your inner being has an opinion and an attitude about every single thing. Your inner being knows about everything that you are talking about, and yet your inner being still chooses to look at it differently than you are. And if it were not looking at it differently than you are, you would not feel negative emotion when you talk about it. And so it turns out that it's always true. The things that you warn other people about, as long as you are in your warning mode, you are not part of the solution. You are still part of the problem. You're still in step one. And that's all right, because step one is an important part of the equation. In other words, if somebody's not doing step one, then there's no expansion, then there's no improvement. But it's not those that are still hammering at the problem that are making way for the improvement. It's those who are syncing up with what they desire.
Well, what happened is that I got a telephone call from a friend I know a long time ago, 30 years ago. She was calling me up, and because through her, somebody who is well known in this field with medical problems and everything came up to me and said, I'm going to help you, I'm going to assist you. Another person just came out of the blue and said, I have also help for you. All these people I do not know, they come up to me to support me. So,
well, it's a wonderful thing, because as you said, often you are in a place of aligning. All kinds of ideas are coming to you, but not when you are holding that stance. We just want to say to you, let it go. Give it a rest. We know humans believe that if they don't hold strong to the problem, then the problem will persist, and the opposite is true.
But if I let this go, the problem still exists.
The problem that was created may still exist, but there is now a solution in your vortex that was not there before. And you could turn your attention to the solution in the vortex. You don't have to keep looking back at the problem. That has served you, and that is our point. Don't make a lifetime career out of hammering at the problem. Look toward the solution. Be part of the solution.
That's not my intention.
Well, it's what you're doing in this conversation so far.
No. I want to close it very, 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 very soon for myself. I know this. It's not making a career or a long time thing out of it.
Well, this whole conversation for nearly the whole time that we've been talking together has been about finding some way to find some separation between the problem which you've acknowledged and the question which you've asked and the solution which is underway and the answer that you're looking for. And we never want to give you the impression that it's not right for you to ask the question or to have the problem, because life comes at you. But we know for sure that so many people just keep themselves all wadded up as they keep persisting in a problem that could have long ago had a solution if they were not giving all of their attention and energy. Can you imagine a source is queued up to answer everything that everyone wants? And all those questions and all those requests that must be being offered from those who are in distress. Can you imagine what source is hearing and what source is answering? Can you imagine what's in the pipeline? The well-being and the improvement and the evolution and the ideas that are in the pipeline? And don't you want to be like you are with your other work that you're receiving? Don't you want to be a receiving of that kind of information? Of course you do. And so could you say and mean, I have given the problem enough of my attention. I've done my work relative to the problem. My mother and I did our work relative to the problem. We've identified the problem and we've put a big time solution in the vortex, and now I intend to receive the inspiration about the improvement, not just for those that are in that place where my mother was, but for all people that are moving through life and that are requiring assistance of one kind or another. And we got to tell you, you'll be a lot happier, as you know, from everything else that you're living, if you're one who's come out of meditation, who receives the download, who is inspired to the joyful action that brings you to helping rather than hammering around on the problems more. That problem doesn't need any more attention to it. That vortex has a great big solution that is ready to be received. And there are so many happy, willing people who are out there who have the potential to receive the impulse to act, the impulse to help, you see.
Okay.
You heard that clear.
I heard that, yeah.
That's who you are.
Yeah.
But you're not alone on this subject. A lot of people are quite, we don't want to use a permanent sounding word, so we're offering some vibrations so that Esther can find something that feels less, there are a lot of people that are stuck, that are just temporarily stuck in the belief that the way to find a solution is to just keep focused on the problem. And it is just a flaw relative to the laws of the universe. You just cannot get there from there. Yeah.
Just let it go. Put it in the vortex.
You don't have to let it go. You don't have to let the subject go. Just focus on the other end of the stick. Just decide that you're going to be part of the solution, no longer pointing out the problem.
Well, that was my intention.
Yeah, we know. You just weren't there, but now you are. And